Be me, 38, CEO of a tech startup in Seattle. Whole thing built around women's empowerment apps, platforms, community, the usual buzzwords. Except we actually mean it started from nothing. 6 years of straight grinding, sleeping in the office, living on cold coffee and spite. Now we're at like 60 employees, pulled in about $18 million in funding across a couple rounds. Press keeps calling us the future of ethical tech. Makes me cringe, but I'll take it. We're doing real work, real people using our stuff, real outcomes. And yeah, I'm proud, but I'm more proud of how we built it. Women first, hiring policy, female leadership, prioritized progressive benefits, parental leave, flexible schedules, equity audits, pay bans, transparency. Trying to be the company tech pretends it is diverse, inclusive, fair. None of that. Move fast and break women, Silicon Valley, bro, crap. We keep men on the team to a minimum. Not because I hate men, because I've met men. Sometimes it's unavoidable, though. Needs certain technical skills. Sometimes the strongest candidate is a guy. Fine, but then you watch them like a hawk. Make sure they can vibe with the culture. Make sure they're actually allies. Make sure they're not secretly a walking HR case. One guy's been bugging me for a while. Name's Ethan, 35, senior software engineer. Been here a little over 2 years. Technically a wizard, everyone says it. Our CTO, Lauren, practically worships his. Commits team respects him because he gets results deadlines, nailed bugs, squash performance. Spotless, but something about him feels off, can't explain it. Just a gut thing. He's too quiet, too sealed up, never really engages. Skips every social thing, leaves at exactly 5:01, like an alarm goes off in his skull. No happy hours, no volunteering events, no group lunches. When we do DEI talks, he's a statue, doesn't jump into discussions, doesn't share thoughts, doesn't even pretend to care, just codes and disappears. Red flag to me, if you're an ally, you show up, you participate, you help carry the culture. You don't just clock in, farm paycheck, and ghost. So I start paying closer attention. Watch him in meetings. He barely speaks unless someone calls on him. Then it's a clean technical answer, and he shuts right back down. When women talk, he listens, takes notes, implements what they suggest. Which sounds good on paper, but he never offers anything of his own, comes off passive like he's trying to be invisible, like he doesn't even want to be in the room. We have an all hands about new diversity initiatives. Everybody's fired up, sharing ideas, building on each other, actual energy, actual momentum. Ethan is in the back row, staring at his laptop, not looking up, not reacting. Not even fake smiling, just typing like the world around him is background noise. It pisses me off way more than it should after the meeting. I pull him aside. Ethan, we need to talk. He looks up like I yanked him out of a dream. Sure, what's going on? I tell him straight. You look completely checked out in there. He doesn't get defensive, doesn't apologize, just says, calm as a monk. I was working on a login bug. It's urgent. And I'm like, that's not the point. That meeting was about culture, about values. You need to participate. He nods once. Okay. I'll try. That's it. No explanation, no curiosity, no effort to connect. Just agreement and an exit. He walks off. Like, we talked about the weather. I'm annoyed all day, bring it up with leadership. Later, leadership team is all women except our CTO role. I lay it out. Ethan isn't fitting the culture. He doesn't engage. He doesn't show up for what matters. He codes and vanishes. Lauren immediately pushes back. He's our best engineer. His output is insane. He never misses. Code quality is basically perfect. I'm like, that's not enough. We're not just shipping features. We're building a mission. Lauren looks uncomfortable, like she knows where I'm going. He does care. He just shows it differently. I don't buy it. We need cultural fit. We need people who are invested in the values, not just people collecting a salary. So I start keeping notes documenting every time he checks out, every time he skips something, every time he's physically present and mentally elsewhere, building a paper trail for a review, maybe a termination if it doesn't change. Can't keep someone around who doesn't believe in what we're doing. A week later, we host this mandatory workshop, Allyship, How Men Can Support Women in Tech. Mandatory for everyone, not just the guys. Full attendance, people are engaged, taking notes, asking questions, actually trying. Ethan sits in the back, again, arms crossed, face blank. Like he's waiting for a dentist appointment to end. Workshop leader. Does the whole interactive thing asks, what can men do to support women in tech? Hands shoot up, amplify women's voices, give credit properly, challenge bias in meetings, mentor without being weird. All good answers. Ethan says nothing, doesn't even uncross his arms. Leader notices and zooms in on him. Ethan, right? Engineering? Room goes quiet. Everyone turns to stare at him, like he's about to confess a crime. He shifts in his chair, clearly hates the attention. I just try to do my job. Treat people with respect. Let the work speak. That's his contribution. Leader tries to pull more out of him. Okay, but what about active allyship? Being intentional? Showing support in visible ways? Ethan looks even more uncomfortable. I think the best support is treating everyone the same. No assumptions. Judge the work objectively. And I can literally feel the air in the room turn sharp. The leader hits him with the disappointed educator voice. That's a colorblind approach. That's privilege. That ignores systemic issues. People nod, people scribble notes, like he just became an example problem in a textbook. I'm sitting there thinking, yep, this is exactly what I've been sensing. After that workshop, I'm fully convinced he doesn't get it. Or worse, he gets it and doesn't care. So I schedule a meeting with him the next week, bring him into my office. He sits down, stiff eyes, flicking around like he expects an ambush. Good should be nervous. I open with, Ethan, I'm concerned about your performance. His face actually changes, like real surprise. My performance? He sounds offended but trying not to show it. Lauren told me I'm exceeding every metric. I keep my voice flat. Not your technical performance. Your cultural performance. You don't engage. You don't participate. You don't show up for what matters here. He goes quiet for a second, processing, then asks, careful, can you give me examples? Oh, I have examples. All hands meetings. You sit in the back on your laptop. You don't contribute, he answers, like this is obvious. I'm usually fixing issues that pop up during the day. And I'm getting irritated again. That's still not the point. The point is being present, being part of the community, showing you care. He nods slowly. Like he's forcing himself to understand the language. I understand. I lean in a little, do you? Because it doesn't feel like you believe in our mission, our values, what we're building. Long pause, he finally speaks, voice low. I do believe in the mission. I'm like, then why act like you couldn't care less? He chooses his words like he's diffusing a bomb. Because I don't think I'm the right person to talk about it. That throws me. What does that even mean? He looks at the floor. It means, another pause, you built something for women, by women, and that matters. He pauses like he's weighing every syllable. That's necessary. Then he goes on, I'm here to back it up with my skill set. Not to insert myself into conversations that aren't about me. For a second I'm like, wait, that's almost self-aware? But still, not what I need from him. I tell him straight, we need allies who speak up, who participate, who actually engage, not just ship code and vanish. He looks me dead in the eye, first time he's really looked at me like an equal, not like I'm just noise between tickets. I've been in tech like 13 years. I've watched what happens when men dominate rooms, when we center ourselves, when we take up all the air. He takes another beat. I'm trying not to do that. Trying to make room by taking up less space. It's an interesting angle and also completely backwards. Silence isn't allyship. I say, participation is allowed. You don't get points for being a ghost. He nods, tight. Okay, I'll participate more. Gets up and leaves. I still feel like he doesn't really get it, but at least he's going to try next. All hands comes around, and Ethan is suddenly in the front row, not tucked in the back, like a vampire. He raises his hand multiple times, offers ideas, chimes in on discussion, asks questions, exactly what I asked for. And yet, something about it feels wrong, like watching someone smile with their jaw clenched. He looks uncomfortable, forced, like he's doing a bit like he's performing good ally employee for a camera that isn't there after the meeting. A couple women from product and design drift up to me. What's going on with Ethan? He never does that. That was weird. They're right, it is weird, but it's what I wanted, right? A week later, we have an engineering team meeting debating a new feature approach. Two of our engineers, Natalie and Brooke, are going at it, both smart, both right, in different ways. Both passionate voices getting sharper. People doing that. Awkward stare down at their laptops. Ethan sitting there quiet, watching for once, not typing. Natalie finally turns to him. Ethan, you're senior here. What do you think technically? He hesitates, glances around like he's checking for landmines. I think both approaches have merit. Maybe we prototype both and compare performance. Most diplomatic answer possible. Most useless answer possible. Natalie's face tightens. Okay, but which one is better? You've got the most experience. Ethan shifts in his seat. I don't want to override anyone's ideas. Brooke jumps in. You're not overriding me. We're literally asking you because you're the senior engineer. That's your job. He looks trapped like he's in a courtroom, and any sentence is a confession. Finally he goes, Natalie's approach is more scalable, but it's heavier up front. Brooke's is faster to implement, but we'll probably refactor later. Small pause. Both are valid. Depends on timeline. Still hedging, still refusing to pick meeting ends with everyone kinda unsatisfied. Later, I'm walking past a conference room, and I overhear Natalie and Brooke talking to Lauren. Ethan is being weird. He won't give a straight answer. He's just trying to agree with everyone. It's not helping. Lauren's expression goes from neutral to concerned. Later that afternoon, she comes into my office and shuts the door. We need to talk about Ethan. I'm already bracing for her to defend him again. I know, I start, he's still not engaging right. Lauren cuts me off. It's the opposite. She sits down, exhales. He's engaging too carefully, too diplomatically. He's not being himself. I blink. What do you mean? Lauren leans forward. Before your talk with him, he was direct. He gave clear technical opinions. He made decisions. He led. She gestures like she's laying out evidence. Now he won't take positions. He won't lead. He barely gives an opinion unless someone drags it out of him. And even then it's padded in bubble wrap. Then she looks right at me. What did you say to him? I get defensive instantly. I told him to participate more, to engage with culture, to be present. Lauren's careful with her words, which is rare for her. You told him to perform allyship, and now he's performing, instead of just being a good engineer. I don't like how that sounds. That's not fair. He wasn't being an ally before. He was silent. Disengaged. Lauren's voice gets firmer. He was making space, doing his job, supporting his team without centering himself. She pauses, lets it land. And you told him that wasn't enough. So now he's trying to be what you want. And it's making him worse. I hate it because a part of me knows she might be right. I decide I'm going to watch him closely. Actually watch, no assumptions, no narrative, just what's happening in front of my face. And what I see is honestly shocking in meetings now. Ethan speaks up more, but it's like he's allergic to substance, just affirmations, just agreement, just great point. And I love that. People look to him for technical guidance. He deflects like he's dodging bullets. What do you think? Honestly, both ideas are solid. Either would probably work. No direction, no leadership, no decisions. And it's not just meetings and code reviews. He's suddenly rubber stamping everything approving, PRS, with tiny harmless comments. Nice cleanup. Looks good. Maybe rename this variable if you want. No real critique, no hard calls, no senior level pushback. And the quality starts slipping because the senior engineer is supposed to be the guardrail. He's supposed to be the adult in the room. And now he's acting like he's terrified of having a spine. Then the universe decides to test us. Random weekday mid-morning. Production goes down hard. App, login, fails customers. Freaking out. Support inbox, exploding revenue, bleeding by the minute. War room gets spun up. Everyone piled into a conference room. Laptops open. Tension thick. Natalie and Brooke start arguing immediately. Root cause, rollback versus hotfix blame flying. And everyone keeps glancing at Ethan. Because he's the senior engineer, he's supposed to take point. He sits there quiet, listening. Not deciding, Lauren finally snaps Ethan. We need a decision. What's the fix? He looks like someone put a spotlight on him. I think both approaches could work. Lauren's jaw tightens. We do not have time for both. She's actually angry now. Pick one. You're the senior engineer. That's literally your job. Ethan looks around the room, all these faces staring at him, colleagues, women he works with every day. He swallows. I don't want to override anyone's expertise. Ethan! Lauren barks. First time I've ever heard her raise her voice like that. Make a damn decision. He flinches and then something changes. His shoulders square up. His expression shifts from scared to focused. He stands up, points at Natalie. Your theory's right, but your implementation is wrong. Then looks at Brooke. Your approach will work. Here's what we're doing. And he just takes over clear directions. Specific steps, who does what gets rolled back, what gets patched, where to check logs, what to monitor after deploy. The whole room snaps into motion like someone finally cut the wire on the paralysis. People execute, no more, arguing 20. Something minutes later, system is back up. Alerts stop, screaming, support calms down, crisis averted, and as everyone starts breathing again, Lauren pulls me aside with that look on her face. Lauren corners me in my office right after the dust settles, closes the door like she's about to fire me. We need to talk about Ethan. Again, I'm already tired she doesn't sit right away. You need to apologize to him. I blink. What? Lauren's eyes are sharp. You've managed him into being useless. I feel heat rise up my neck. I told him to participate, to engage. Lauren shakes her head. No, you told him to perform. She's actually angry, like real personal anger. He was a good engineer, a great engineer, and you made him afraid to do his job. I want to argue it comes out automatically. That's not true. Lauren doesn't flinch. Afraid of what? I snap back. She finally sits like she's preparing to explain something to a stubborn child. Afraid of being too male, too dominant, too technical, too much leadership. I just stare at her. She continues. He's been walking on eggshells, trying not to be the guy who takes over, the guy who dominates a room, the guy who centers himself. Small pause. Because you made him think that's what he was doing, by just doing his job. My stomach drops, it hits like motion sickness. I just wanted him to engage, I say, quieter. Lauren's voice is firm, no patience. He was engaging, in the only way he knew how, by being excellent, by supporting his team, by letting other people shine. Another pause, like she's letting it sink in, and you told him it wasn't enough. So he tried to become what you demanded, and it turned him into a liability. She stands. Talk to him. I don't move. Really? Lauren points at me like a judge. Yes, really. Talk to him. Understand what you did. Fix it. And she leaves me sitting there in my own office, staring at my desk like it suddenly belongs to someone else. Heart pounding, trying to swallow the feeling that I messed up something important. Next few days, I don't just keep an eye on Ethan. I actually watch him like for the first time. Without the story I'd built in my head. No assumptions, no narrative, just the reality. And it's brutal. People ask him questions constantly. Architecture stuff, design, trade-offs, security, concerns, edge cases. All the hard questions you ask the senior when you trust them. And even now, even in his weird performing phase, he still tries to help. He answers thoughtfully, clear and precise, but short. And then he immediately hands it back to them. What do you think works best? How would you approach it? Like he's afraid that having a strong opinion will poison the room. I start digging into old records too. Pull up past code reviews from before I pulled him into my office that first time. And holy hell, they're detailed, thorough, not mean, not nitpicky, just good actual teaching through feedback, explaining why something's risky, how to make it cleaner, how to avoid future outages. He was guiding people without making it about himself. Then I check reviews after my little culture talk, and it's night and day, 2-line approvals, tiny safe comments, looks fine, nice work, maybe consider renaming, no real critique, no direction. Like, he's terrified that disagreeing is a sin. I watch how he leads to before, decisive, clear, direct after, passive, padded, diplomatic, to the point of useless. And the worst part is realizing it's not random. It's a reaction to me. I did that. I broke him, I took a good engineer, and made him scared of being competent. Because in my head, a competent man with authority and expertise looked like dominance, looked like tech, bro, looked like danger. And it was just someone doing the job. We hired him to do. I schedule a private meeting with him. My office door closed, no audience. He comes in, cautious guarded, like he's expecting another lecture, can't even blame him. "Ethan, thanks for coming," I say. He nods, sits. Waits doesn't offer anything, just that quiet patience. And I realize that quiet isn't disrespect, it's control. I take a breath. "I owe you an apology." His eyebrows lift, actually surprised. For what? For everything. I have to force the words out. "I misjudged you from the start. I made assumptions about who you were, what you represented, what you were doing here." He doesn't interrupt, just listens, face still guarded. I keep going because if I stop, I'll chicken out. "I saw you being quiet, saw you not jumping into culture discussions, and I assumed you didn't care. I assumed you were a problem waiting to happen." My throat tightens in a way I hate. Eyes sting. I shove it down CEO mode. I was wrong. His expression barely changes, but I can tell he's paying attention. You were making space. You were supporting your team. You were doing your job extremely well without centering yourself. It feels like confessing to a crime, and I punished you for it. I told you it wasn't enough. I pushed you into performing, into becoming something that isn't you, and it wasn't helpful. It wasn't good. Finally, he speaks one word, quiet, flat. "Why?" Simple question. No easy answer. I swallow. "Because I was scared." It's the first time I've said it out loud. He looks at me. "Of what?" And there it is. "Of you being like the guys I've seen in tech. The ones who take over. The ones who dominate. The ones who push women out of rooms without even noticing." Pause. "So I saw a threat where there wasn't one. I saw dominance where there was support. I saw a problem where there was, honestly, a solution." Ethan nods slowly. No drama, no victory lap. "I get it," he says. I almost don't believe him. "You do?" He leans forward a little. Elbows on knees. "Yeah. I've worked places where those guys exist, where they do take over, where they do dominate, where they do shove women out." Small pause. I never wanted to be that. So I tried to be the opposite. Quiet, supportive, non-threatening. He gives this tired little half smile. Apparently that wasn't right either. And I let out a breath that sounds like a laugh, but isn't. God, I'm an idiot. He doesn't argue, and I don't blame him. I sit up straighter. "No, it was right. It was exactly right. You were exactly what this team needed, exactly what this company needed, and honestly, exactly what I needed to see." Pause. I was too biased to see it, too scared. He's quiet again, processing, then he asks something that hits harder than anything else. "Can I ask you something?" I nod. "Why do I have to prove I'm not a threat? Why is that my job?" Pause. "Why can't I just do my job? Be good at it, support my team, and let that be enough?" And he's right, completely right, and I've got nothing clever, nothing defensible. I just say it. "You shouldn't have to." My voice comes out smaller than I want. That isn't fair. That's my fear, my bias, my problem. I look him in the eye. "Not yours. And I'm sorry I made it yours. Sorry I made you carry that. Sorry I pushed you into performing something you didn't need to perform." Pause. "You were right the first time. Being quiet, being supportive, letting your work speak, making room without vanishing. That was allyship." He looks at me like he's checking if I mean. It really looks, then nods. Once, "Thank you for saying that." "I mean it," I say. "I know," he answers, and we sit there in silence for the first time. It doesn't feel tense, it feels normal. Then he asks, almost careful, "Can I go back to being how I was?" And I feel actual relief hit my chest, like unclenching a fist I didn't realize I'd been holding. "Please," I say immediately, "go back. The team needs you, real you. Not the version that's scared to lead. Not the version that's trying to be invisible. You, competent, direct, honest, you." He smiles first. Real smile I've seen from him in months. "Okay," he says next few weeks. Ethan starts turning back into himself in meetings. He's direct again, clear opinions, actual technical takes, actual leadership. Instead of that weird everyone is valid fog code, reviews go back to being detailed, real feedback, real critique, the kind that teaches. Instead of just rubber stamping when something needs a call, he makes it fast, confident. No hesitation, no weird apologizing for having expertise. Team response is immediate productivity, jumps, quality, climbs, morale, lifts. Like somebody opened a window. They've got their senior back, their Ethan. I pull Natalie aside one afternoon by the espresso machine. Okay, be honest. What's different with Ethan lately? Her face lights up. He's back. Just like that. Back? Yeah. He was so weird for a bit. All passive and diplomatic. Wouldn't give a straight answer. It was not helpful. She makes a face like she's remembering a bad smell. Then she smiles again. But now he's normal again. Real feedback, real decisions. He's leading. It's so much better. She has no idea what I did, what I almost broke, and I'm glad she doesn't. I'm glad he doesn't have to explain it to her. And I mean it when I say good. I'm really glad. Next month, another all-hands new feature roadmap, company direction, everyone chiming in. Like usual, Ethan's in the back, again laptop, open same posture as always. And a month ago, it would have annoyed me. Now I just assume he's doing something useful, fixing something, supporting something, quietly. Holding the place together in his own way. Meeting ends, and someone from partnerships asks a feasibility question. Big idea, big promises, lots of risk. Room turns automatically toward Ethan. He looks up, thinks for like 3 seconds, then gives a clean answer, pros, cons, trade-offs, what we'd have to sacrifice, what we'd gain, and his recommendation. Then he goes back to the laptop. No performance, no walking on eggshells, no trying to sound safe. Just competence, just expertise, just him, perfect quarterly review. Season hits Ethan and I do. Our one-on-one, completely different vibe. Now, less tense, more honest. Feels like we're in the same reality for once. I start with the truth. Your performance is excellent. The team loves working with you. Output is up. Quality is up. Your leadership is strong. He gives this small smile. Thanks. I nod. I mean it. Pause. And everything I said before was wrong. You're exactly what this team needs. Exactly what this company needs. I'm sorry it took me so long to see it. He nods slowly. I appreciate you saying that. Then he looks at me and asks, calm but direct. Can I ask you something? Sure. Why me? Why was I the one you focused on? Fair question, and I hate how long it takes me to answer, because you're a guy with technical authority. And I was scared of what that can turn into. Pause. Instead of trusting what you were showing me from day one, that you were a good engineer, a good teammate, a good person. He sits quiet for a second, then says, can I tell you something? Yeah. He exhales. I almost quit. My chest tightens instantly like my heart just tripped over a curb. When? After our first talk. The one about participation and culture. Pause. I felt like I couldn't win. If I stayed quiet, I was disengaged. If I spoke up, I was centering myself. If I led, I was dominating. If I didn't lead, I was useless. He looks at me, steady eye contact. I didn't know what you wanted. Except for me to not be me. I get this wave of nausea, actual physical nausea, like my body is trying to reject the whole memory. I swallow it down. Why didn't you quit? He doesn't hesitate. Lauren told me to wait. She said you were dealing with your own stuff. That you'd figure it out. Pause. And she was right. I sit there thinking thank God for Lauren for believing in him when I didn't, for shielding him from me. And I feel the apology rise up again, because one wasn't enough. I'm so sorry. Say it again and mean it harder, for almost driving you out, for making you feel trapped, for punishing you for being good at your job. He nods. Once accepts, it doesn't hand me forgiveness like a freebie, and he shouldn't. I don't deserve easy. About a month later, we have another all hands celebrating a milestone. We hit 1.4 million users. Big deal for us. People are hyped, snacks everywhere. Someone popped a cheap bottle of champagne in the break room and almost took out a ceiling tile. I do the CEO thing speech about the grind, about the mission, about the team, about the work. Then I pause and I can feel the room settle. I want to talk about allyship for a second. You could hear a mouse breathe in there. I keep it simple. I used to think allyship meant constant participation, always speaking, always being visibly involved. Pause. I was wrong. Sometimes it looks like doing your job extremely well, backing your team consistently, making space without disappearing, leading when it's needed, following when it's appropriate, being real instead of performing a role. I glance over, and Ethan's in the back laptop, open, probably fixing something quiet, steady, consistent. And that's the point. Pause, and I almost missed that. Because I was looking for a performance instead of substance, for show instead of character, for what I expected instead of what was actually there. Meeting breaks after a bunch of people come up to me, questions curiosity, some of them nervous. Some of them relieved good conversations, honest conversations. The kind that don't feel like HR training slides. Ethan approaches last, after everyone else filters out. It's just us in the room for a second, he says, simple, thank you. For what? For saying that. For understanding. For changing your mind. Pause. That takes courage. I snort, shake my head. Courage would have been seeing it from the start, trusting you from the start. This is just me finally pulling my head out of my ass. And he laughs, real laugh, first time I've ever heard it. Well, he says, still smiling, better late than never. We stand there for a second and the silence is comfortable, not tense, not loaded, just easy. I say his name, Ethan. Yeah? Thank you. For staying. For being patient. For being exactly who you are, even when I made it harder than it needed to be. He smiles. Thanks for figuring it out before I actually quit. I look at him. You really were going to quit. His smile fades. He's serious. Yeah. It was miserable. Trying to be what I thought you wanted. Trying to prove I wasn't a threat. Trying to be useful while also being invisible. Pause. I couldn't do it much longer. The guilt hits again like a second wave. I'm sorry, I say, quieter. He nods. I know. And then gentle, and I forgive you. That's it. Clean, simple, done, present day, like 7 months later. Company's thriving, Ethan's thriving, team's thriving, and yeah. Things are better, because I'm better. Not because I turned into a saint, because I stopped letting fear run the steering wheel. I changed how I handle every guy we hire, not just Ethan Trust. First judge by work, by character, by consistency, not by vibes, not by paranoia, not by whether they're performing. The right signals, results are obvious. Retention is better. Output is better. Culture is healthier. Because people can actually be themselves and do their jobs without constantly proving they deserve oxygen. One night I'm working late, rare for me. These days, office is quiet, mostly dark. I notice Ethan's still there, which is weird. He's usually out the door right after 5. I walk over. You okay? He looks up. Yeah. Just fixing something before tomorrow's deploy. Don't need help. Almost done. I go back to my desk. About an hour later, he's still there. I walk over again. Seriously, you good? You never stay this late. He smiles a little. I'm good. I just want to get this right. Pause. This job matters to me. This company matters to me. This team, this mission, it matters. I feel that tightness in my throat again. Fight it. Keep it together. It matters to us too, I say. Then I add the part. I mean the most, having you here, specifically. Not just any engineer. You. He nods like he understands exactly what I'm saying. Without me saying more, goes back to his screen. I go back to mine. We work in silence, comfortable, companionable, the kind of quiet that doesn't need to prove anything. Later that night, I'm driving home, city lights blurring a little in the rain, thinking about Ethan, thinking about how close I came to wrecking something good, thinking about how wrong I was and how lucky I got that I figured it out in time.